This is part 40 of my series on my Engage Model Railway project. Previous parts cover the project from its inception through the creation of the baseboard selection and laying of track, building of scenic items, obtaining rolling stock, etc. The project is ongoing. This part deals with various Lms rolling stock, locos, coaches and wagons that I have obtained since I last did an update on my Lms stock. The London Midland and Scottish is principally what I model, since my family associations are with this company, and with the Midland Railway before amalgamation. First, I'll go over the details of the recent rolling stock acquisitions, and then we'll see some running video of the rolling stock on the layout. There are quite a few things involved, so this will be a slightly longer video than usual. One of the first things I received after my last LMS update was this coach. This is a Graham Farish model of a Stanier corridor first. I bought this new, shipped from the UK, of course, as British Engage rolling stock is not available locally where I live in Canada unless you're lucky enough to find some used items. I must say this is a nicely made model, with quite a bit of detail both inside and out. I sought this one out as I thought it would be nice to actually have a later LMS Stanier corridor first. The next thing that turned up was a pair of coaches, both composites of an earlier LMS style. These came with the cardboard Bellows connectors fitted, and I was interested to see how those looked and how they worked. Unfortunately, one of the coaches when it arrived was missing a coupling. The eBay listing had noted that a coupling had been repaired, but when I got the coaches it was simply completely missing. These were older models and had the type of arrangement where the couplings had little sort of bendy bits in the middle and then connected to the bogies with a simple push-in pin. I didn't have a spare coupling of that older type that I could use, so to get this coach working I had to completely replace the bogie. I had some spare bogies of the newer Graham Farish type with sprung couplings. This is the replacement bogie fitted. You can see the sprung coupling there. And here's the coach, the replacement bogie with the sprung couplings on left and the original bogie with just the bendy coupling is on the right. And here are both of those coaches. The coach on the right has both original bogies as it wasn't missing anything. Here's a close-up of the card Bellows connectors. These seem like a good idea in principle, as it doesn't really make sense that we run corridor coaches with big open gaps between them. Here are those coaches in the middle of a train. Of course the bellows are really too long, as the separation of the coaches with normal Engage couplings is too much. Obviously you need to have the bellow connectors fitted to all of the coaches for them to work properly, except for the front and back coaches where you wouldn't want bellows connectors on the ends, I don't think. Here's that train starting to get on its way. The bellows connectors didn't seem to cause any problems with the running of the coaches or going round bends. It does look a bit silly when one coach has a bellows and the next one doesn't, as that left in this picture, because then you've just got a bellows hanging in mid-air. I felt that the bellows connectors seemed quite a good idea, so I ordered some separately. Unfortunately, they just come as a bunch of separate pieces of flat card that you have to assemble yourself, and I haven't got round to trying to assemble them yet, so I still currently only have these two coaches with the bellows connectors on. The engine pulling that train was the rebuilt Royal Scot Black Watch, an older Graham Farish model. This was actually one of the first LMS locos that I bought. I'd really love to get an original unrebuilt Royal Scot, as that was what my granddad drove. He retired before the rebuilding programme, but no one seems to have ever modelled the unbuilt Royal Scots in Engage. Here's that train with another short LMS train in Colville Station. Here are another pair of earlier LMS-type corridor coaches that I received shortly after, and an angle view of those coaches, showing some internal detail. Not that there's really all that much, but at least the corridor is modelled. This is what the post brought from the UK on another day. The two items at the bottom are a Stanier composite vestibule coach and a fancy horse box, which I bought quite recently. The other 5 coaches puzzled me a bit when I started unpacking them, as I didn't remember any recent purchase of 5 coaches. It turned out that this was because the purchase wasn't exactly recent. I bought these coaches on eBay almost 3 months previously, and the seller posted them promptly, but postal service seems very erratic these days, although 3 months is the longest I've known a package to take to come from the UK to Canada. Anyway, these coaches are a rake of early LMS mainline corridor coaches, 4 composites and a brake. Here are those coaches making up a classic LMS Crimson train behind the LMS, the Jubilee Trafalgar. There's a bit more of a sort of action angle on that train. The Trafalgar came without nameplates. I would have bought etched nameplates for it if I could, but it seems no one makes Trafalgar etched plates in Engage. So I ended up just printing something on paper, hardly ideal, but perhaps an improvement on no plates at all. Here's more of a close-up where you can actually see the rather iffy paper nameplate. Here's the back of the train with the new 5 coaches showing the brake. A close-up of one of the composites, a little fuzzy I'm afraid. And here's that train going round the hill, looking at the coaches from the corridor side now. So these are the same coaches, but you're looking at the side where the corridor runs rather than the compartment side. Here's the Trafalgar and the lead coach from the compartment, the corridor side. That double telegraph pole behind is always getting knocked over. I'm going to actually take out the double poles and replace them with singles. Here's the train going through an S-bend. These coaches were in good condition and ran well, although they were older models. And that train in Colville Station, too big for the station really. I didn't have room for a station long enough for 5 coaches, which would really have been quite short in the real train world, but... A closer view of a couple of the coaches with the leaning telegraph pole again, and pulling out of the station. This is the little horse box that came at the same time, very much in the same style as the early LMS coaches. On it is painted Sir George Widgeon Doncaster. I wasn't able to find the background to this. Presumably it's the name of the owner, unless it was the name of the horse. Here it is in a train going behind the yard area. And here's a real close-up. I just bought this because it seemed an interesting item and very appropriate to my LMS period. This was the next group of arrivals, an LMS-style suburban coach, i.e. non-corridor, used for shorter services, an early-style coach. Midland 4P compound engine in LMS black livery, and 3 LMS wagons, all modelled by Graham Farish. I put all of these items on the layout together as a mixed train with an LMS brake van added at the back. I'm not sure whether mixed trains would have been allowed to run at this period, although they certainly did earlier, that is, mixed between passengers and goods. They certainly did earlier in the days of the railway, but I think they were mainly illegal by this point. Perhaps there were some exceptions. Anyway, I just wanted to give these arrivals a running test. The Loco works fine, but being a Farish 440, actually driven by the 4 large driving wheels on the Loco and fairly light in weight, it really can't pull anything much up any kind of gradient without the wheels spinning badly. It struggled off the flat even with this little train. Really, in real life, it should be an express passenger Loco, not pulling local coaches and wagons. Here, coming past the sidings, well populated at this point with various wagons, many with local associations for me, things like Burton-on-Trent breweries and Leicester wagons, etc. I grew up in Leicester, so the Leicestershire area is my home territory. And coming under the metal Lone Star Bridge. Here's Colville Station with trains made up from the new stock. Newly placed Metcalfe Cottage and Knox Shepherd on the hill with his sheep in the foreground. These are the last acquisitions for this video. The Stanier Vestibule coach that we saw with the arrivals before, now getting a turn on the rails behind a newly arrived Horwich Mogul Crab Loco in LMS black livery. Crab was a nickname these locos acquired because of their motion. Their strongly sloped outside cylinders, which can be seen quite clearly on the model, tended to give them a side-to-side waddle as they progressed under steam. Here's the black Crab going past a Ginty tank engine with some wagons and a G2 Super D with a goods train in the siding. Here's the Crab with its coach coming past the ends of those sidings. The red door on the end of the coach is a little unusual. And here's up a close-up of the crab showing its details such as they are. You can certainly see the characteristic sloped cylinders and valve gear. The black livery with red lining looks quite nice, but this is an older Graham Farish model, I believe from around the 1990s, and the detail and finish are rather basic in many respects by more current standards. And here's a final close-up of the composite vestibule coach, which is also a current Graham Farish model, and with a rather higher level of detail than some of those older coaches. Now let's see some video of things running on the layout. Okay, let's see if we can have a look at some of the more recent LMS rolling stock. A couple of recent videos have featured some foreign rolling stock, some rolling stock from others of the big four. The Great Western and the LNER are rivals in the Midlands now. I have got quite a bit more LMS rolling stock since I last did a rolling stock update. So I'm going to try and look at some of that. So I spent half the morning shunting, making up some trains with some of the recent rolling stock. So now I'm going to try and see if we can bring an engine out, and we'll start. This is not a new engine actually, although I don't think it's been in a video before. We're going away from the little house. Look as if he's railed too well, does he? I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he just has a crooked tender, I don't know. Okay. Certainly doesn't look straight, does he? Okay, turn the power to that off, bring him round. This is a Royal Scot, an older Graham Farish Royal Scot. Are we lined up there? Yes, I guess we are. We're turned off there. We got the points set. So we'll bring him out. Famous last one. If you think what I'm doing now is complicated, you should see the shunting I was doing this morning, trying to set all this stuff up. So we're going to go the other way with him. We're going to try and put him onto the outside line via the crossover. Is he facing the right way? Okay, so now we set that point. And we move him the other way, and we'll try and take him across the crossover onto the outer line. Oh. Got to power up the sound for the outer line then. This is the US Light steam card I just powered up here. Okay, so now let's see if we can try to pick up the right train. Okay, I think that's right. The engine that I'm struggling with here is the Black Watch. It's a rebuilt Royal Scot, early Graham Farish rebuilt Royal Scot. Can you see that there? Yes, you can, I think. Are we out of the siding? Yes, we are. So we'll reset the point for the siding. Yes, so he's a rebuilt Royal Scot. And then I've got I've got these bellows, these coaches with these cardboard bellows on there, if you can see them. These are the cardboard bellows, because they look better when you've got two bellows coaches against each other. I've only got the two, and they don't line up perfectly even then. And then the other two coaches are two other LMS mainline coaches that I bought without bellows. Now I bought some more little cardboard bits for the bellows, so if I get round to reading the instructions for putting them together, which I got the chap who sold me them to send them in a peep. Oh no, I'm getting confused there. That's clocks chiming the half hour. And we'll break that train in Colville Station for a moment. And then we'll release the brakes and bring him back round again, hopefully without any more merry derailing. Oh no, there is somebody at the door. I can't tell. Coming! Okay, resuming. I know what I'm doing, which I don't much, after a visit from the mail lady. Oh, I was just saying that I hope that he wouldn't derail. Slows down when he goes over the crossover, because the power's coming from a lot further away once you get to the other side of the crossover there. Okay, well, I think we will just, because I've got various other rolling stock I want to get out, so I think we will just put this guy back into his siding after this. I'll pull the train clear of the siding, set the point, and see if we can get away with backing the train. That's last words. Into the siding. Quite a long siding, that one. I'm going to leave the engine in there as well for now. I'm going to leave the engine in there as well for now. Okay, well now let's get one of the new engines out. Yes, let's get one of the new engines out. And there's another train, there's some Stanier coaches in there. Those were early LMS coaches, but there's a couple of nice Stanier coaches in there, so we'll see if we can get them out. Now they're also going to come forward, up. It's quicker to go this way. So I'm going to bring out, this is a black crab, all going away from the little house. Okay, and we think we want to go forwards, right, so we want the engine facing that way. And we set those points, and he should go with a bit of luck. This is a black crab, a Horwich mogul. Crab's just a nickname, of course. They were called them crabs, I guess, because they had a bit of a crab-like motion with the way the cylinders, the outside slope cylinders were punching and whatever. They tended to rock a bit as they went along, so they got called crabs. So we'll set that, and we'll set that, and we'll see if we can get him over onto the outside line. Yeah, we got him across. Okay. go to the right siding. It seems to need a wee bit more power than the Royal Scot. There he is, the black crab. You see, he's got the, I don't know whether you can see, but the cylinders are quite strongly sloped down. That's the most obvious distinctive feature of the crab. Horwich Mogul, down by the retaining wall there that we've put in fairly recently. Now whether that will couple or not, I don't know. If not, I'll have to go over. It seems to have got them. These are nice coaches. And these are two really basically pretty new coaches, and like a lot of the stuff I'm using is like old bashed around stuff from here and there, you know, that's not in the best shape. But these, let me just pull them forward a tiny bit more there. Ah, famous this was, I lost my brake then. The brake's not so new. The brake's different, but I mean it's not different, it's also a Stania. Oh, you can't join things on corner. Oh, I did get it joined actually, but I didn't think it would join on the corner. Yes, because now you can't see the Stania coaches, but where are you? Yes, so this is the, that's a corridor first, and that's a vestibule composite, and they're basically, I think, pretty much, I'm not sure if they still make them or not, but they're pretty much current Glenfarrish production. And you know, they are nice, that they've got more detail than a lot of the older ones. They've got some moulded windows are flush, they've got moulded pieces, separate windows, and you know, the separate little pieces here and there. And they've got quite a bit of interior detail as well. They're nice looking coaches, I must say. Not cheap, of course. And the coach on the back is a Stania full rate, which matches them, but which I've had for longer and which I did buy used and isn't in quite such nice condition. But put the brakes on and stop in Colville. I release the brakes and pull away again. His wheel slipping a bit. He almost looks as if he may be. Oh, did I reset the blithering point? I don't know. No, I did not reset the point. But I didn't run him into it yet because we weren't there. Aha, but I've lost one of my coaches again, haven't I? That coupling to that brake is obviously not very good. No, cannot get that brake coupled. Nope. I think we might have got it at least a little bit now. No, I just cannot get that brake coupled. Oh, that's such a nuisance. It's always one thing or another, isn't it? I'll back the whole train round then, I guess. That brake just does not want to couple. Oh, and now it's derailed. If it's not one thing, it's another. Okay. Let's try re-railing that. Now I don't know whether this guy's on right. No, he probably isn't. Now that's right, I think. Well, that's the best I can do. There seems to be a bit of bumping and banging from next door for some reason. Okay, off we go again. Let's see if we can get round the corner with this guy. Without him coming uncoupled. Okay. I think we put him, if we can, back into his siding. There we go. He can stay in there for a bit. Let's have a change of pace. Well, this is a weird one. I'm going to have a mixed train now. I'm not sure how legal mixed trains were in the amalgamation period, but I'm going to have a mixed train now because these things came together and I don't have much else to do with them. Okay, so what are we doing? Towards the little house. We're going to bring out, now this is a black Midland compound, and I want him to go the other way, so I'm going to need to take him all the way around. This is a Midland 440 compound in LMS black livery, which came at the same time as the wagons I'm going to pick up with him. I've got a little mixed train sitting there, one suburban LMS coach and some wagons, a refrigerated car, a box car. Okay. Famous last words. A lot of this stuff it's a bit iffy trying to make it work, but we do what we can. So we'll bring him off there. Famous. Yes. And his train is right there. His train is right there behind him. So we switch that point behind him and see if we can pick up that train, which is sitting on the Loco servicing spar there under the Graham Farish sanding plant. Now, is he going to pick that up? Probably not. That didn't look like... Oh, yeah. I'm going to say I thought that didn't look much like a coupling, but I guess it was. Okay, so we'll bring him round. Set a point here so he doesn't derail. We'll bring him round to where you can see him a little bit better, hopefully. Now, assuming, if he can pull this train up the gradient, which is a bit iffy with a compound. See how he's wheel slipping like crazy. Compounds do not pull well. I mean, not in real life. Compounds pull quite well. They pull passenger expresses, really. But the Graham Farish compounds do not pull well. Okay, what we got here? I'm trying to see what you can see. Oh! That was the old accelerator instead of the brake trick. I meant to, I got my head round backwards there, and when I meant to slow right down, I speeded up. Anyway, so, I don't know. You know, I know these are a bit small in the video. So this is a nice early LMS suburban coach, and then we got an LMS refrigerator wagon there, a box wagon, and a 5-plank wagon, and I've got an LMS brake on the back. We'll just take him round once more, I guess. Set. We got the point set. That doesn't sound good. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know what's happening. He was supposed to turn in on the point there, but I don't think he did. No, he's stuck. The sound box has reset itself. My attention, I have to say, was diverted off. My attention was diverted off trying to set the other point, not that point, but the next point ahead of him so that he wouldn't hit it, but he derailed his He derailed his bogie coming into this point. Let's try again, see if we can get him over it. That wasn't because it was set wrong. It's just him misbehaving. That point was set correctly, but he derailed going into it too much. But we got him over anyway. Now, I was resetting that point that he just went over now, so that he wouldn't hit it and derail. There's the animals in the ratio cattle. We're going to have to give him some oomph here, else he'll never get up here. Can barely get up there as it is. Famous last words. He should really, of course, be a passenger express engine. Actually, they were the Midland compounds were extensively used in the early days of the LMS after amalgamation for passenger expresses, and that's what they were basically meant for. They were designated 4P passenger engines. So he shouldn't really be doing this, but whatever. Okay, so now we will reset that point and we'll take him back in there. If he doesn't derail, and the wagons don't derail. There's not a lot of clearance under that sanding plant. Famous last words. There should be enough clearance for the brake, though. There really should be enough clearance for the brake. Yeah, the brake should be able to go under there. Yeah. Yes, that's about. I didn't expect all of those wagons to go under that sanding plant. There's not enough room for them, I don't think. Okay, I'm going to have to go manually uncouple him because I don't have any clever remote uncoupling technique and I need him uncoupled. So I'm going to have no choice but to go round and manually uncouple him. Using a pair of tweezers. Okay. We hope. We'll see. I don't think I derailed him doing that. As long as I didn't derail him doing it, we should be able to pull him forward. There we go. Change the point if I can remember which point it is. Yep, that's the point. And we can take him back onto the turntable. There we go. And the shed, that little single shed I'm putting him in is actually built from the card kit that you can download free from Wordsworth Model Railways. I did a video on building that. We want to go towards the little house. By the little house, I'm talking about this thing, the control house on the turntable when I talk about that, because I have to know which way I'm going relative to that in order to know which way to set the turntable control. Because I'm using the turntable power to move him into there. The power is going to that line through the turntable. So we had the crab out. Okay, we got one more very nice passenger train on the outer line. 5 early LMS coaches, nice rate that all go together, and they're sitting there in the back there. And they're sitting there to go down, so I want an engine to go with them that'll go down. So we'll try this guy away from the little house. Oh no, I don't want him. Not to be rude, but I don't want him. That's another compound. No, I don't think he wouldn't pull this train. He would not pull this train. I need a bigger engine than that. That's the compound. I mean, in real life, of course, he should pull it, but he wouldn't pull it on this. Away from the little house. What's this guy? For one thing, he's not very well railed. What is he? He's not remotely well railed. Famousness was he's not remotely well railed, and also I don't think he's in. I don't know what that is. What engine is that? Oh, it's another crab. That's another crab. It's a red crab, that is. Okay. Trying to find a suitable engine to pull this passenger train. Ah, that looks more like it, yes. That's a Jubilee in LMS Crimson. Yes, that's a suitable locomotive to be pulling that. There's other things as well. There's a Duchess of Abercorn there, Coronation class, that also would have been perfectly suitable, but we'll go with the Jubilee. Okay, but I want to be, this train is going to be going down, so he's facing the wrong way. He really is. He's facing the wrong way. This train is going to be down, so I've got to turn him all the way. Battery's running out on this thing. Oi! I recharged the Olympus camera, so let's have another go at that. The Olympus camera doesn't hold a great charge, unfortunately, anymore. It's a good camera, but it's a couple of years old and its battery's a bit on the weak side now. So I have put the Jubilee back in its shed, so we'll get the Jubilee back out of its shed, hopefully, and we'll try this again. Okay. Try and get the Jubilee. This is the Jubilee Trafalgar. This came without nameplates for some reason, so I made paper nameplates for it. It's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Well, maybe it's not, I don't know. I don't know, but I wasn't very happy with having no nameplates on. And I couldn't, I would have just bought brass nameplates for it if I could, but they don't appear to sell Trafalgar. Okay, so let's see if we can take him over the crossover to pick up that train. Yeah. I've got the point set into that siding, yes we do. Now, will that have coupled? Yep, pulling a load now, so he needs a bit more power. These are the 5, I bought these as a single order, a rake of 5 early LMS corridor coaches. 4 composites and a brake. I have no idea quite what the power does in that section. It seems to go up and down. Let's see now. There we go. Maybe we'll just stop there a minute and see if I can see. Yeah. appears to be what they are, 3 corridor composites and a brake. And these are not Stanier coaches, these are the early LMS style coaches. I've got the book on the LMS coaches, but I must have to admit I haven't actually read it in any detail, so I couldn't tell you a lot more detail about these coaches. I know they're the ones they ran. They're mainline coaches from the earlier days of the LMS, not long after amalgamation, and we're looking at them here from the corridor side rather than the compartment side. Let's see if we can get by. There's always a feeling we were going to have a problem there. I don't quite know why. I don't really know why. I don't particularly know why. The Falgo's bogey's not quite railed correctly, I don't think. Let's try again, see if we can get... He struggles a bit over that point. Now he really does. Well, there's 2 points there for sidings. And he's struggling a bit to get over the points for the sidings. Oh, famousness. Oh, well, no. No, that's not his fault. That's my fault. That's my fault. I forgot to reset the point for the siding where he came out of. I forgot to reset the point. That's the siding he just took things out of, and I forgot to reset the point for it. Now, is he viable still? Yes, he is. Okay. So we'll brake the train in Colville Station for a moment. Okay. And then we'll release the brakes and pull it out of Colville Station again. Oh, for goodness sake. You know, I think it did the same when I was doing it before, and I don't know why. There's maybe a piece where the rail is just a little bit dirty there, because it stopped in the same place before. Yeah, I bet there is. I bet there's just a bit of dirt on the rail there where you go into the tunnel, because I've had things stop there before. I'll have to lift the tunnel and clean the rails inside the tunnels. I'm just watching him, see if he's railed properly. I think he is. So there's the Trafalgar with my rather iffy paper nameplates on him. And there's these coaches. Go back to the end there so you can see the brakes. So that's a nice early LMS train. All in the LMS crimson that they inherited from the Midland Railway. Crimson, oh. We just had a coach derailment, didn't we? Oh, if it's not one thing, it's another. Why did we have a coach derailment? The brake derailed there. There's anything wrong with that point. Let's bring the train round and we'll put the brake back on it again. Yes, he hesitated a bit there, but I got him past. Time to do a bit of rail cleaning again, I think. Okay. Side switch here. We'll re-rail this brake with the guard at the back. And we'll couple it back off, and hopefully then we'll pull it round again, and let's hope it doesn't derail this time. It doesn't sound too good even now. Well, we'll see. I want to see if I can put them into that siding. If one of them's not railed properly, I probably won't be able to. Sounds to me as if this were a bogey somewhere in there. I've got them in though. It sounds to me as if there's a bogey somewhere in there that's not quite on the rails right. We'll look afterwards, but the other thing I want to do is now I want to bring this George Widgeon horse box out. That was the other thing. He's sitting in here behind the Black 5 in the good spur here. Famous last words. Not seeing any sign of that working. Why not? Should be. Oh, maybe because I'm trying to make it go back. Well, this was always a bit of an iffy engine. Oh, there we go. Just got to give it more power. Now this here is that George Widgeon horse box, which is a horse box in the style of those coaches. I don't know quite what the history of that is, but anyway. There we go. And we'll just see if we can give him a little run. He just needs a lot of power there, doesn't he? And we put the point back so he doesn't hit the point. This is one of those Black 5s that I spent a lot of time repairing to get them running again. Seem to be having a bit of a hard time running over the points at that end of the network. I can't really see too well because they're behind buildings and things from where I sit controlling. But anyway, there we go. We'll maybe just put that back into its siding here if we can. There we go. So I guess that'll do for now.